You've made all the shavings that you can make for the day. You've glued all your joints up. You've clamped everything down. Time to clean up, right? If you're anything like me, you work to the very last minute and then you close the shop down thinking that tomorrow you'll get everything cleaned up. So what's left to do before it's time to turn out the lights? Oh, really? What? Now, besides the obvious, like putting lids back on paint cans and varnishes, polyurethanes, cleaning brushes, glue guns, unplugging them, making sure that there's no power to them, or soldering irons or wood burning equipment, glue caps, making sure that you've got your glue covered up again. There are two things that I check every time I leave. Now, I don't want to get into the debate as to whether or not you should take the tension off your bandsaw blades, but I'll tell you a story. One time when I went to start up my bandsaw, the motor was seizing and I couldn't figure out what was going on. There was no movement, there was nothing but that power sound where it sounds like it wants to do something but can't. So I went to check to open up my bandsaw and I couldn't even open that up. The blade had somehow slid off of the wheel and had, because it was a 3/4 inch blade, it had kept that door from opening. I don't know why it did it. I still haven't figured it out. But ever since I have taken the tension off my blades, I don't seem to have a problem with it. Now, I don't go off of the gauge on my bandsaw. I tension it a little bit tighter based off of what Snodgrass has said about how you use your finger to find exactly how much tension that blade needs. And because I keep a 3/4 inch blade on my bandsaw at all times, my resawing bandsaw, I've never changed that tension. So for my personal use, I make sure that I always take the tension off, and I've never had a problem. But the difficulty is, how do you remember to take that tension off? That's what plagued me for a long time, and I will show you what I chose to do. So without getting into the debate and worrying about whether or not you should or shouldn't do it, and for my own personal machine, this is what I do. This is my bandsaw setup right now. I have all 4 plugs used. I have 2 lights and then the 2 bandsaws. Now, my trick with taking the tension off the bandsaw is by leaving the lights on my bandsaw on at all times. When it's time to close up and I'm done for the night, I turn off the lights to the shop and find out that those lights are still on, and I think, oh, I better go turn off the lights for my bandsaws. Now, the other good thing about this is that when I go to start my bandsaws, I can't turn the power on because this has not been activated yet, which makes me remember I gotta go tension my bandsaws. It's very easy, it's very simple. I don't have a problem with starting my bandsaws with the blades not tensioned or forgetting overnight and having that problem happen to me that happened before. Now, the other thing that I like to do at the very end of the night when I close my shop up is to take the tension off of my belt sander. Now, this might seem like a minor thing, but for some reason my belts seem to stretch out and I have a real hard time keeping those belts tracking as I'm using it. So taking this tension off my belt sander will prevent that kind of problem from happening. And now, while I don't have a power strip attached to my belt sander, I try to double up with my bandsaw. I try to think, well, if I haven't put the tension on my bandsaw yet, then I probably need to go over and do the same thing with the sander. Now, this video was mostly about taking the tension off your bandsaw blades and the belt sander. I'm sure that there's a million other things that are probably much more important to do before you shut your shop down for the night, but these are the 2 things that I really want to focus on. If there's any comments that you have, please leave them down below. Like, subscribe, share this with somebody that you know that you might think could use this kind of information. And I actually got my Facebook page up and running. I'll leave that in the description below. Thank you for watching.